One of the reasons why history is critical for accurate political analysis is because it forces us into the big picture, well away from the emotions of the day. I'm a Raila man, I'm a Ruto man, I'm a Uhuru man, etc., etc. And as a result, you see things you never saw before. For instance, it is amazing how the Jomo Kenyatta succession and the Uhuru Kenyatta succession are working out to have massive similarities. Oh yes, many people have not seen that yet. Because the truth is, if one is able to analyze the similarities properly, then it becomes much easier to see into the future how precisely the Uhuru Kenyatta succession will end up. You could have one or two options that will be spot on. You know, what happens after Uhuru is much more important than most Kenyans realize. The country is in a serious situation, serious crisis. And the truth is, the next captain of the ship called Kenya had better be extraordinary captain. Otherwise, as a nation, we are done. That is the naked truth. Jomo Kenyatta was made president by a man called Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who ended up as his vice president. Uhuru Kenyatta was made president by a man called William Samoei Ruto, who ended up being his deputy president. And Uhuru Kenyatta fell out with his deputy president William Samoei Ruto, mainly because of the Uhuru Kenyatta succession. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga fell out with President Jomo Kenyatta, mainly because of the Jomo Kenyatta succession. You can now see some of the big similarities. Now, for the sake of our young audience, who are in the majority, let us back up a little into history. I assure you it's very fascinating, so that we understand the present a lot better. The foundation of the nation called Kenya was beyond great because of a policy the government adopted early on, known as the policy of non-alignment. That meant as a nation, we were not aligned to the West, and neither were we aligned to the East. Both were our friends. Both were allowed to do business with us. Now, I don't want to go into deep economics, but the long and short of it is that non-alignment has got huge advantages, especially for a young or growing nation. And I will give you a quick example of another nation that remained non-aligned longer than Kenya, and that is the nation of India. Look where India is today. The huge advantage they've always had is that they can look for the technology most appropriate to them, either from the East or the West. At least that's how it was in those days, when East and West were so far apart. But let us stick to today's topic. The appointment for the East was the Vice President, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, with close links to Russia, Soviet Union. The appointment for the West, a man who had lived in Britain for decades, was of course the President, Jomo Kenyatta. Now, the assessment of the West was that Jomo Kenyatta's health was not good. And this was at the height of the Cold War. So the fear was that the balance of power, in case something happened to Jomo, would quickly shift towards the East. They'd have an advantage because the Vice President could easily take over the presidency from Jomo Kenyatta, allied to the West. And therefore it was a matter of urgency to deal with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga may have done nothing to Jomo, or may have done nothing to anger Jomo. This is politics. Brutal, ruthless politics. And I dare add, William Samoei Ruto may have done nothing to anger Uhuru Kenyatta. Tafakari hayo. And so Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was gotten rid of, was dealt with, forced out of his powerful position as vice president and president in waiting. For those interested, the policy of non-alignment continued for a few more years, but it was just a matter of time after Jaramogi left. But sticking to our topic today, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was kept as far away from the Kenyatta succession as possible. Fast forward to the present. William Samoei Ruto will be kept as far away as possible from the Uhuru Kenyatta succession. At least very spirited efforts are being made to ensure that that happens before 2022. And in Jaramogi's case, he still remained a potent force in Kenyan politics for decades, despite being out of government. It is highly likely that whatever happens to William Samoei Ruto, he will remain a potent force in Kenyan politics, even if he's out of government. Now, that quick peek into our past history presents us with some very interesting questions for the present. Are there some powerful Western forces, some powerful foreign forces, that do not want William Samoei Ruto anywhere near the Uhuru Kenyatta succession? That's a fair question. Some powerful forces in the donor community, perhaps, who are not happy with the use of donor funds in the country, perhaps. And although international politics has become very complex and very confusing, we know for a fact that the deputy president has got very strong links with alternative foreign powers. Poland, and even the recent incident of the controversial vaccine, corona vaccine, that came from Russia. My point is, the Kenyatta succession might ultimately be decided by the degree of power of the outside forces, foreign forces, involved. That is precisely what happened in the 60s with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Why should it not happen with the Uhuru Kenyatta succession? I will dive deeper into this train of thought in subsequent videos, but I think I've given you more than enough to chew on for now. Except that I highly recommend that you keep up with my weekly intelligence briefings, where I give information that I may not be able to give you on this open channel. You see, in the year 2020, many of us had a rude shock. You cannot say what you want. You cannot have certain opinions. And you cannot give out certain information on open public channels like this one. That is the reality. And so I urge you to take a minute or two to listen in to my earlier recording which follows, that tells you a little more about the information that you're missing that's contained in my weekly intelligence briefings. Listen in, and thanks in advance for doing so. While I try my very best to give you real value on this public channel and to give you all the valuable information I can, the truth is, there's some information that is way too sensitive to share on this public channel. That information usually ends up in my weekly intelligence briefings, which is usually moto kama pasi. Just to give you a few examples, what really happened to former President of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli? Is it true that he passed on at a Nairobi hospital? Actually, the Magufuli inside story is nothing short of mind-boggling. Most people who have taken in my WIB number 52 which contains this information have been left breathless. Even the most hardened cynics have been left bila words, if I can put it in the Kenyan way. Another example of a WAB that I published recently. There is a secret that those who are close to Raila Odinga have guarded and continue to guard with everything they have. Why is this particular secret so sensitive? And what is it anyway? It is contained in one of my WABs. In fact, a recent one. And there's much more, including things you'd never imagine that are happening in the corridors of power that neatly explain what we see unfolding in the public domain. Bottom line, you will never look at Kenyan politics in the same way again after you become a WAB subscriber. Indeed, it is true to say that in most instances, the truth is stranger than fiction, and sometimes much more difficult to believe than fiction. But it remains the naked truth. And now you have a golden opportunity of becoming a weekly intelligence briefing subscriber on a monthly basis, which will automatically give you access to every single WAB ever produced. Oh yes, I will send you all the WABs immediately you become a subscriber. And to become a monthly subscriber, all you need is $9.95 only, or Kenya shillings 995 only. Simply send a blank email to the email address you see on your screens right now, and you'll get an automated response by email instantly, within seconds, with full payment instructions and what you need to do. The same full payment instructions are also included in the description area below this video on YouTube. I strongly recommend that you go for it, because this offer will not last for much longer. I really look forward to seeing you on the other side as a WAB subscriber. Thanks so much for your support. It means a lot to me. And I'm saying that very sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to seeing you on the other side as a WAB subscriber. Until next time, this is Kshs. Kumekucha.